The military, our fighting men and women, and the bureaucracy that supports them did its job here. And we've been on the air for 12 minutes and 33 seconds, and I'm the first person to say the mission was a success.
What's happening, everybody? This week, Scott Jennings has been making the rounds on CNN as the lone voice of sanity. Scott Jennings went on 3 different shows on the network to address the CNN story du jour, the Trump administration's misuse of the Signal app. Now, why don't I call it Signalgate, you ask? Because that's a name the legacy media created to make a bigger deal about it than it really is. Anyway, let's watch Scott Jennings make fools of not 1, not 2, but 3 of his co-workers for their contrived narratives about the Signal app leak. Let's go.
How is this defensible in the slight? I don't understand.
Well, I think 2 things can be true, and it shouldn't be that hard to just say out loud. Communications about this were not well handled. It was a mistake. Mistakes lead to teachable moments, and the president's had hard conversations with the people who were involved in it, and he's quite certain that they've learned from this mistake. I mean, he said that in so many words.
Does it make sense to you that the president would be angry about this?
Of course, because it's detracting from the other thing that's true, which was this was a righteous hit. The president made a good decision, reversing a bad policy from his predecessor. We hit the bad guys. We did what we were supposed to do. The United States military once again proved it is the most ruthlessly lethal, efficient fighting force on planet Earth, and we are making shipping safe again. So the military, our fighting men and women, and the bureaucracy that supports them did its job here. And we've been on the air for 12 minutes and 33 seconds, and I'm the first person to say the mission was a success. But we spent all our time talking about the part that wasn't well handled, and it should not and will not happen again.
You know what grates on my nerves? That lady's question at the beginning. How is this defensible in the slightest? Who's defending it? How many times do you need Republicans to acknowledge it was a mistake? So nice, concise answer from Scott there. It was a huge mistake. Won't happen again. But hey, let's point out that it was a successful military operation. I think that's a fair assessment. But apparently CNN felt like they still needed to squeeze some juice out of this thing. So Scott went on another show.
If you're trying to assess what should we do about it, I hear Democrats arguing, well, we should fire Pete Hegseth, we should fire the National Security Advisor. The bar for firing people like this is really high from the last administration. When after the Afghanistan withdrawal, which was a disaster, people died, no accountability was meted out. After the drone strike that vaporized those poor kids and that family, no accountability. After the Secretary of Defense went AWOL, no accountability. So if you're arguing today that we should get rid of Pete Hegseth over a small mistake regarding communications, even while he was expertly executing this military operation against the Houthi rebels, which also the Biden administration didn't take up, I don't have a lot of time for that argument today, and neither does most Republicans.
The problem here is that Pete Hegseth has taken no accountability. He's bashed the reporter. He's called it a hoax. He's done everything but say, hey, I made a mistake by putting this information in the Signal chat. You mentioned Secretary Austin. He stood at the podium for an hour and took accountability. He asked for a 30-day review of the hospitalization. He asked for an inspector.
Did a single Democrat ask for his resignation?
Scott, if I may.
Did a single Democrat,
Scott,
not one?
I am so glad to hear you say that this was a mistake.
Yeah.
We have not heard a single member of the Trump administration say that this was a mistake.
Trump
we
did.
need leadership.
Trump did.
We need leaders who step up, who own their mistakes,
Trump
and put
did.
out clear plans, because what I'm hearing on the ground from actual constituents is that this is a sign of the carelessness of this administration, who can't even protect national security details. What about our personal details?
From the jump, no one has denied that this was a mistake made by the Trump administration. No one said that these were fake texts, that this was a fake message chain. They acknowledged immediately that it was Mike Waltz that added Jeffrey Goldberg to the conversation. But even when Scott corrects her, and this is so typical, she can't shift gears from her prepared talking points. It's literally like, okay, I've got this to say on here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And boy, I hope they don't go off topic or I'm in trouble. This lady's whole premise is that no one in Trump's administration took accountability. It's just not true. So all of her editorializing is completely irrelevant and based in a false premise. I mean, this woman's written a book. I'm sure it sucks, but I'm sure she has a brain. Use it and come up with something else to criticize her or address Scott's point. It kind of defeats your entire premise. And as I always say, the Democrats don't want to get into an accountability battle. Let's not forget the whole picture. Remember the Afghanistan withdrawal? zero accountability for getting 13 service members killed. And that's just the first part of the story. The second part of the story that no one's mentioning is when Joe Biden attended their memorial. It was getting close to his nap time and he checked his watch. Remember that? But wait, there's more. Then, when Donald Trump attended the one-year memorial for those folks and paid his respects to them and their families, Joe Biden, the sitting president at the time, couldn't be bothered to attend the funeral of 13 service members that his administration were responsible for their deaths. So I'm sorry, but I have zero time to be lectured by Democrats about accountability or anything, but especially when it comes to the Trump administration's ability to oversee our military. But you know, as frustrating as these people are, this is a great sign for Republicans. Look how much time they're dedicating to this. The stories in the news have been this and Jasmine Crockett talking out of her ass. If I'm taking a temperature of the Republican Party right now, I'm feeling pretty good. All right, so now we should be good, right? Because Scott gave another pretty sound answer there, right? Well, apparently Laura Coates needed an explanation as well. So Scott went on her show.
This isn't, cowboys and Indians and calling for scalps. This is actually what most people would think was if someone has behaved in a way that puts American lives at risk, they should be held accountable for it.
Scott, what's your response?
Laura, may I, since she addressed me, I'll answer it.
Please.
In a Democratic, you don't have to make up hypotheticals, Lulu, about if this happened in a Democratic administration. Let me take you back in time. In a Democratic administration, the Secretary of Defense oversaw a disastrous military operation in which 13 servicemen died in Afghanistan. Then, to try to make up for it, they vaporized like 7 children in a drone strike. Then later, the Secretary of Defense went AWOL and didn't even tell the commander-in-chief.
This is a completely
you don't
different
have to
thing
come
that
up
you're
with a hypothetical,
these are two
Lulu,
different things that you're
because
discussing.
the bar
And I can take
apparently
you
is
back in
very
time,
high,
Scott, and I
very
can
high
talk
for
about the Iraq
dismissing
War.
a Secretary of Defense.
I don't want your words
Scott,
to
we
fall
can-
on
we can
ears
do
that
this as
cannot
much
hear
as
you.
you like.
Lula, what's your reaction?
My reaction is it's not the same thing. I can take you back in time and talk about the Iraq
You're
War.
right, because people
There are
died.
different things
People
that
died in the
make.
last
There
case
are
and not in
people
this
make
case.
mistakes. This was using an unsecure method of discussion by the top members of this administration to discuss top secret, a top secret and
Who
very
died? In which
important
case did people die?
military
In which
I would
case did
like
people
to
die?
hear
No,
her
this
finish
is
her
not the
point,
same
Scott.
Where do they get these people? Who pays that person to be on CNN? It's so unbelievably laughable for the Democrats to criticize anything regarding military communication. When Lloyd Austin got sick in January of last year, he didn't tell anyone, including Joe Biden. Austin was like, I'll figure it out. If I was a server at Chili's and I no-called, no-showed to work, I'd get fired. But to the Dems, if the Secretary of Defense does it, nothing to see here. So they can spare me the fire Pete Hegseth talk. They just have a hard-on for this guy. While it's certainly understandable to criticize him for the Signal app thing, they're going so overboard. So I'd like to try to put this Signal thing to bed, even though I know the mainstream liberal media won't let me. It was a serious, irresponsible, and potentially dangerous mistake. At no point in time did anyone deny that the message chain was legit or that a mistake was made by A, passing confidential information over the Signal app, and B, adding one of the biggest scumbag, dishonest journalists on the planet to their text chain. Speaking for myself, this is unacceptable and cannot happen again. But do you notice how the Warhawk Democrats suddenly care a ton about the lives of American soldiers and refuse to respond to the countless military missteps by the Biden administration? I mean, they don't even answer Scott when they're challenged on it. Bottom line, I trust the Trump administration to learn from this mistake and move on. No one needs to be fired. But the fact that the mainstream liberal media is harping on it so badly, like I said, it's a good sign. Their fake outrage about the matter is because they need it to be a big deal. They have absolutely nothing else. I don't think I need to tell most of the people watching what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway, just in case someone needs to hear it. Don't let all this noise distract you. At the end of the day, you can always come back to, I'm on the right side. I'm on the side of good. The people that oppose us and the Trump administration are snakes, and they will do or say anything to prevent Donald Trump from fulfilling his campaign promises. And why? Because they're bad for the country? No, because it's Donald Trump. But what do you guys think about the whole Signal app leak? Am I not taking it seriously enough? Is the news media right to be so outraged? Am I wrong? Is it not fake outrage? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you like watching videos of Scott Jennings just poning a group of Democrats, then click on one of the videos that's about to pop up on your screen. Otherwise, as always, I've got the best viewers in the world. I'm so grateful for every one of you and that you take a couple minutes out of your day to watch my video. It just means everything to me. Never forget, Jesus loves you. I'll see you guys.